So, here's the situation. Rachel Zegler, the same actress who once had Hollywood in the palm of her hand, just flipped the script in a way no one saw coming. A couple of weeks ago, she was being dragged for allegedly blowing up rehearsals and tanking the West End revival of Evita. People were calling her a diva, a nightmare, a PR disaster. The producers even sued her for breach of contract, basically claiming she destroyed their entire production. But now, she's coming back with a counterpunch so hard, it might take the whole damn showdown with her. Yeah, Rachel's not just denying what happened, she's saying it was all a setup. According to a new countersuit filed by her legal team in London, Rachel is alleging that the Evita team created a toxic environment on purpose. Not just tension and awkward rehearsals, but straight-up psychological warfare. Her legal filing claims they began sabotaging her from the first week, excluding her from creative meetings, humiliating her in front of castmates, and even leaking internal notes that painted her as unstable. Those viral clips and backstage rumors, Rachel says they were orchestrated, part of a calculated campaign against her, a campaign to destroy her reputation and force her out, without making a public mess. And here's where it gets really wild. She's accusing the production of not only isolating her behind the scenes, but also secretly rehearsing her replacement while she was still showing up to work. Think about that. You're the lead in a huge revival, and behind your back, they're already training someone else for your role. That's not just shady, that's straight up sabotage. For weeks, the public has been fed a specific version of events. The story was simple. Rachel got too big for her boots, acted out, and ruined a major production. The leaked notes described her as difficult, arrogant, and combative. And when the footage of her yelling during rehearsal hit the internet, it felt like confirmation. But Rachel's legal team is flipping that entire story on its head. They're saying those leaks weren't accidental. They were bait. They claim the creative team pushed her to the edge, waited for her to react, then filmed the fallout and shipped it off to the press. Reputational assassination. Plain and simple. And here's what's insane. This isn't some random fan theory. This isn't an actual legal document, filed publicly. And now, it's out there, challenging everything people thought they knew about what happened. Rachel's not just defending her name, she's out for justice. The countersuit goes after the producers hard, saying they violated their own confidentiality. Rules. The same rules they used to justify coming after her. She's asking for damages for emotional distress, for being publicly humiliated, and for being cut out of a creative process she was hired to lead. And the reaction online? Whiplash. Suddenly, people are pausing, rethinking, going back to those leaked rehearsal clips and asking, wait, why were these even recorded in the first place? Some fans who were bashing her just 2 weeks ago are now saying maybe, just maybe, she was set up from the jump. So how did we get here? How does someone go from being the face of Disney's next big release to fighting for her career in court? The answer starts way before the courtroom. It begins with the casting of Evita. Rachel was supposed to be the star of a bold new West End revival. No CGI, no Disney filter, just her, a mic, and a legacy role that's broken plenty of performers before her. But from the minute she stepped into rehearsals, something felt off. And the deeper you go, the messier it gets. The first signs of trouble were subtle. Rachel says it started with little things, like being cut out of email threads, getting updated scripts last, and being corrected in front of everyone during rehearsal. At first, it felt like typical backstage politics, but the pattern kept growing. According to her, there were moments when she'd show up for blocking sessions only to find out the schedule had changed, without anyone telling her. Other cast members, even those with smaller roles, were allegedly kept in the loop while she was left completely in the dark. And then there was the day she says she waited alone for over an hour in a rehearsal space, only to be told the entire scene had been rescheduled. Without her, that's not just miscommunication, that's personal. Her lawyers call it intentional isolation, a methodical effort to push her out psychologically. And it worked, because after weeks of feeling excluded, corrected and sidelined, Rachel started breaking down. Not because she was unprofessional, but because she was being worn down on purpose. Or at least, that's the picture her countersuit paints. Then came the moment everything spiraled. During one closed-door rehearsal, things exploded. According to multiple witnesses, Rachel snapped. She allegedly threw a prop, shouted at the director, and stormed off stage. That footage was never supposed to exist. Rehearsals like that aren't filmed. But somehow, someone caught it. Blurry. Video, bad angle. Clearly meant to make her look unhinged. That clip leaked within 48 hours, followed by notes from a director labeling her toxic and impossible to work with. It was a setup, she claimed. They pushed, she cracked, and they caught it on tape. But the wildest part? Rachel says this was all part of the plan, that the producers knew she was going to push back creatively, that she wouldn't just follow orders, smile on cue, and keep her mouth shut, and instead of working with her, they worked around her. They created what she calls a trap, one she was bound to fall into eventually. One source close to her legal team put it bluntly. They didn't want a collaborator, they wanted a puppet, and when Rachel didn't play that role, they allegedly tried to recast her without telling her. There are rumors, not officially confirmed, but loud. Enough to echo that an understudy had been rehearsing her parts weeks before the official fallout, that there were secret sessions scheduled late in the day, and that even while Rachel was showing up every morning, doing her job, someone else was quietly being prepared to take her place. Imagine knowing you're being replaced before you even had your chance to open. That's the kind of betrayal that doesn't just hurt, it cuts deep. And this isn't just backstage gossip anymore. It's legal testimony. Her countersuit lays it all out in black and white. Public humiliation, rehearsal sabotage, emotional distress, and, most explosively, defamation through leaked materials. It names names, dates, and specific incidents where Rachel claims she was deliberately baited, sidelined, and then framed as the reason the show fell apart. What she's asking for isn't just money, she wants accountability. She wants the people behind those leaks exposed. She wants it on record that what happened to her wasn't a meltdown. It was a takedown, a targeted one. And while the internet is still split, one thing is clear. This isn't just a fight over a role. It's a fight over power, reputation, and who gets to control the narrative when the spotlight turns harsh. A war over the narrative, over who gets to control the story when things go wrong. And Rachel, she's making damn sure her version is heard. Loud, clear, and in court. The entertainment industry is built on image, but when that image cracks, it doesn't just crumble, it detonates. Rachel Zegler's countersuit did more than defend her reputation. It ripped the lid off what's being called one of the most chaotic backstage implosions in recent theater history. And it's not just her, legal team making noise anymore. Industry insiders, anonymous sources, and even a few bold castmates are reportedly reconsidering what they saw and heard during those early weeks of Evita. Backstage, things are spiraling. Rehearsals that were once intense are now reportedly tense and silent. Some actors are said to be avoiding speaking on the record, terrified of ending up in the headlines. Others are allegedly preparing statements of their own, hinting that Rachel's version of events may not be so far-fetched after all. Producers who once stood confidently behind the original lawsuit are rumored to be scrambling, unsure of how much more will come to light. Even sponsors are backing off. One major brand that was set to headline the show's premiere has reportedly pulled out. They're not saying it's because of the controversy, but their silence speaks volumes. Second sponsor has apparently paused all marketing support until, as they put it, the legal situation is resolved. Translation: this is way too messy for them to touch right now. Ticket sales, which were originally strong, are said to be slowing. Fans who were once excited about seeing a fresh take on Evita are now wondering whether the show will even open. And the new lead actress, stepping into a role soaked in controversy, is reportedly dealing with the weight of replacing someone who might not have deserved to be replaced at all. Internally, one source called the show radioactive. No one wants to be the next leak. No one wants to be the next target. Then there's Disney, quietly, cautiously watching everything unfold. Rachel's legal fight is technically about Evita, but it's impossible to ignore the wider ripple effect. Her name is tied to the upcoming Snow White reboot, one of Disney's biggest projects. And now the studio is faced with the possibility that one of their stars may have been publicly mischaracterized and pushed to the edge by an entirely different team. If even part of Rachel's lawsuit holds up, the optics shift from liability to victim, from meltdown to manipulation. And online, the tide continues to turn. Creators are reanalyzing the leaked rehearsal footage. Fans are clipping together Rachel's old interviews, finding signs of stress, restraint, and maybe even fear. The narrative is no longer as clean as it once was. The villain label isn't sticking the way it used to. Instead, people are starting to ask how quickly the industry turns on women who speak up, push back, or don't play the PR game perfectly. But here's the thing. This case isn't about proving Rachel was perfect. It's about proving she wasn't alone in the chaos. That the meltdown everyone saw wasn't spontaneous. It was engineered. That the leaks weren't exposures. They were weapons. If she wins, it won't just be a courtroom victory. It'll be a statement. A crack in the system, a warning shot to every production that thinks it can push an actor to the brink, leak a few files, and walk away clean. And if she loses, the damage may still be done because the seed of doubt is already out there. People are questioning, asking, digging.